You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts.
All right, Black and White Sports supporters. Well, we got a couple of things we're going to talk about. Number one, we got Sophie Cunningham on her podcast just coming out and saying what so many people have been saying, but you haven't heard it from any WNBA players up until this point. But we know when it comes to Sophie, she doesn't seem like somebody that is going to hold her feelings, her opinions inside. She's just gonna, there it is. There it is. I'm gonna say it. It's gonna come through my head and then boom, it's right out there in the open. The other thing we got is the WNBA draft lottery. Not the draft itself, like not the date the draft's gonna happen, but the date the lottery for the draft's gonna happen, right? So, in other words, the worst teams. When are the worst teams? What order are they going to end up picking? In other words, let's just start there. These are the teams in the WNBA draft lottery. Number one, it will take place Sunday, November 23rd on ESPN. You're going to do a draft on NFL or draft lottery on NFL Sunday? Okay, that's one way to go, I guess. Wow, this league is crazy. Dallas Wings, Minnesota Lynx, Seattle Storm, Washington Mystics, and Chicago Sky will take part in the WNBA Draft Lottery 2026. ESPN will air a 30-minute WNBA Draft Lottery special at 5:30 Central with WNBA head of league operation Bethany Donovan revealing the results of the lottery during ESPN's coverage. This marks the 14th consecutive year that ESPN Networks will present the WNBA Draft Lottery. The Wings, Lynx, Storm, Mystics, Sky will take part. Lottery odds are based on the 2-year 2024-25 records put together, cumulative records of the 5 teams that did not make the playoffs. As a result of a prior trade between Minnesota and Chicago, the Lynx possess the Sky's first-round pick and will have 261 chances out of 1,000 to win the top pick. God. Chicago is in a mess. They are. Chicago, which owns the Connecticut Sun's first-round selection, has the 5th most chances. So 55 chances out of 100, out of 1,000 to land the first overall pick. So good luck with that. Yeah, that franchise is in a wreck, and their draft situation doesn't look great either at all. They made some terrible trades last couple of years. Sophie Cunningham. So something we have told you guys on this channel, we have called out, is the massive conflict of interest between the Unrivaled co-founders, Breanna Stewart and Napheesa Collier, being involved with the WNBA Players Union. They're vice presidents. Guess what? Sophie Cunningham comes out and acknowledges there's a conflict of interest there. It is what it is. I don't understand if we keep saying, I don't understand how this is hard for people. I really don't. There's a section of people, but it's not the same time of year. But it's 3x3. None of that matters. It is professional basketball played by the same players. Period. At any time. It doesn't matter when. That is of no bearing whatsoever. The fact is, they can go out there and get hurt. And then next thing you know, you got an investment, which is the WNBA player, that could not be any good to the owner that gave them all this money. Unrivaled set a high standard during their inaugural campaign earlier this year as they managed to attract a lot of intrigue from the basketball community. Now there are expectations for the league to continue building on that success. The league has found itself in an interesting position given that the WNBA league office and players are busy negotiating for the league's next collective bargaining agreement. Since Unrivaled is notorious for giving its players salaries that make the current WNBA salaries look minuscule, Unrivaled can be used as an example for what the world's best women's basketball players should be making in the world's premier women's basketball league. But that's not where the interest ends. Unrivaled's co-founders, WNBA stars Napheesa Collier and Breanna Stewart, these two happen to be WNBA Players Association Executive Committee, both being vice presidents. Collier is arguably the most vocal among WNBA players about her frustration with the league regarding how much players are paid. Many fans and media members feel like Collier and Stewart's involvement in the CBA negotiations is a conflict of interest, given their founding role and investment in Unrivaled. So let's just come down here. This is what Sophie Cunningham said on the November 6th episode of the Show Me Something podcast. Quote, "This is good. This is some kind of tea. Both of Collier and Stewart, great effing players, right? Like phenomenal," Cunningham said to her co-host Wes Wilson when explaining Unrivaled. But they are also part of the WNBA executive board. And so that could be a little conflict of interest because of the W and Unrivaled. Later on, she added, quote, "That's why there's some conflict of interest, a little bit. So that's interesting." And she said that with a smile. So, I mean, there you are. There's the first player to actually have the guts to come out and acknowledge there is some kind of a conflict of interest involving, I mean, it's crazy. The most obvious thing these players, generally speaking, want to try to steer clear of, like people are blind and stupid. Especially fans that came in as actual sports fans, and we've sat back and watched CBA situations involving MLB and NBA and NFL, I don't know how many times. I mean, stop it. Of course. In a competing league, yeah. The NFL feels like the UFL is a conflict of interest for now, until they figure out a way to get involved and put their name above everything. The NFL presents the UFL. You get my point. So this is going to be interesting. This is, because it's a conflict of interest whether anybody wants to admit it or not. That's our first player that stuck her neck out. As she always, this always Sophie. You know, it's always Sophie. Having to say what it seems like so many of these other players aren't willing to. Or get out there and defend Caitlin Clark like so many of these players are unwilling to. Ooh, I said all that out loud. Shame on me. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.